Hey y'all. Listen, I know I haven't made a YouTube video in a hot minute, and excuse the poor lighting, but it is currently really late where I am, and I am secretly a vampire, but anyway, that's for another day. So, pardon me. So, I'm here to tell you the story that originally started off my YouTube channel. This is the story of the time that I was bullied by a teacher. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, I will probably use her real name because at this point I don't really care and I don't think anybody can sue me. Because I think these kinds of stories need to be told so that people know what kind of people to watch out for as far as who we're handing our children over to. Right? Now, I say our children, that doesn't mean my children specifically because I don't have kids. Not yet, anyway. But, I just mean our children as a generality. But anyway, so this story it starts when I was 16. I was a sophomore at this time. And it actually kind of starts a year and a half prior. Well, when I was a freshman, which would have made me about 15, I think, at the time. Our high school had like a fair. It was part of an orientation type thing, and my mind or my excuse me, was drawn to one of these animatronic babies, the simulated ones that, cry and, that you're supposed to feed and change and whatever, everything that you do to a real baby, right? And I was very drawn to that because anybody who knows me knows that I love kids. I love being around kids, right? So, as I said, I don't have kids of my own yet, but I love being around them. I love holding babies, all of this. And so I just automatically was drawn to that. And they said, well, you can't take that class until you're a sophomore, right? So I'm like, okay, when I get to be a sophomore and I'm old enough, I can take that class and whatever. So fast forward to sophomore year. I finally get into the class. I'm doing well and blah, 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 right? Just kind of everything's going on the way that I wanted it to. First half of the semester goes on pretty well. I do fairly well in the class. I get high marks. I got really high marks in everything in high school because school generally has always come easy to me. All except for math, which is a whole other thing. But anyway, generally I was a very easy student. And things came pretty naturally. So anyway, I'm going on. I did pretty well the first half of the year. And then my turn to take the baby rolls around, right? And this is the one thing that I've been so excited about this entire freaking time, right? This entire year and a half prior has been building to this moment. So I'm like, yay, it's finally my turn, this and that and the other. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is finally happening, right? So this teacher all of a sudden turns completely around on me. Completely, like, basically turns against me. And I don't have any idea why. Like, she has a problem with me taking this baby. And she makes my favorite teacher tell me that there's a problem with me taking the baby, which is where it kind of all started. Like, it was insane to me because, my favorite teacher and I, we were both kind of emotional over it, you know? Excuse me. And so then that's when my mom comes in, right? And my mom, let me just tell you now, does not play when it comes to me or my grandma. Like, she is a lioness. So I don't know what it was that she had a problem with me taking this baby. I don't understand it at all. Still don't to this day. I mean, I've been out of high school several years by now. I'm not going to date myself here, but by now I've been out of high school several years and still don't understand this. But anyway, she goes in, my mom goes in and she's like, "What is the problem here?" Like, she tells them, "Well, doesn't every parent have to sign a waiver protecting from damages that their kid might cause to the doll?" And the teacher's like, "Well, yeah." And she's like, "Well, what's the problem?" And so, it was kind of a pretty angry confrontation on my mom's part. Like I said, she was really mad. So finally, I get my chance to take the baby. And the baby cries the entire 45-minute bus ride home while, we had made an agreement that it was going to be on delay until the afternoon because I had a physical therapy appointment. Well, it was not on delay, and the teacher had set it up on a weekend where she would be out of town and unreachable. Plus the fact that I had it for longer than everyone else. Everyone else had it for 2 days. I had it for like 72 hours, which was way more than everyone else. Which, again, I kind of feel like was a setup for failure. But anyway, the bus ride was the most insane bus ride because I had no idea why the baby was screaming. I didn't know what to do. Like, I was 16. I didn't know what I was supposed to do with this squirming little thing. I mean, she wasn't squirming, but I had no idea what to do. Right? And it was making me lose my mind. And the bus driver too. He was totally losing his mind. I remember when I came off of the bus that day, my bus driver, his name was Ted. He looked at he looked at my mom, and she's like, "Oh, you're gonna have fun this weekend." And by this time, the baby is like screaming and just, like I had completely lost my head at this point, right? Well, finally, I get the baby to stop screaming. I don't even remember how, but finally, I get her to stop screaming. Right, ugh. And let me be real with y'all, okay? Like, they had me so freaked out by this baby that I couldn't even touch her without my mom being in the room. Right? I mean, it was so insane. And this being the truth, even though I had held real babies, that all survived, by the way, thank you very much. But for some reason, this computerized thing freaked me out so much that I wasn't willing to do any of that by myself. And I don't know if it's just the teacher having set me up for failure with her language. I don't know what it was, but for whatever reason, like, it just happened that way. Right, so Friday goes on pretty well, and then Saturday comes around, and by that point I had gotten like a stomach bug, and the baby came into the bathroom with me and whatever. And so, like, by Saturday, I'm like completely losing my head. And, At one point, I think it was on Saturday, I was up feeding this baby for like half an hour, like holding the bottle to this baby's lips for like half an hour. And it was pretty insane because like it was a really awkward angle. But anyway, so I'm looking to my side here as if the baby is like right there, but it was on the side of me. Um and and then Sunday comes around and we literally had to put the baby deliberately in the wrong position because it hardly cried at all on Sunday. So we kind of knew something was up, like, something was up with the programming or whatever. And so we take it back to the teacher on Monday, and the the printout says something like 23 shaken babies and 10 head drops or something crazy like that. And we're both like, that didn't happen because we both knew that wouldn't have happened because, she was in the room the entire time. My mom was. So, but I remember my teacher just kind of shrugging and basically just taking the numbers at face value, even though I know I hadn't done anything wrong. So sometime later, I had said something like, no disrespect, but I think something is wrong with your baby. Now, little 16-year-old me is not really one to stand up to authority. I will tell you that. I wish I had been more. But, I was the one who I was always kind of shy around authority, like, and what they would say would go normally with me when when I was younger. Sorry, not little, but younger. So, I regret so much about that. I should have stood up for myself, but I didn't, and I think that's why it still eats me. Um, but after I had said that, she put she put readouts of two other babies in front of my face, literally, and said, see why my babies don't lie? And I'm thinking, oh, and you think I do? It was pretty insane. I was like, what the hell? And as this is happening, right, she's admitting to another girl, and they're about 5 feet behind me. She's admitting to another girl that they had been acting up in delay when they're supposed to be on delay, which mine was, and I and I knew this. I was like, yeah, that's not what you said to me. And of course that was what was going through my head at the time. So I tell my mom all of this, and she's about to like freak out on her. And I'm just like, please don't make it worse. Like I've only got like 6 weeks of school left. Everything's gonna be, and she'll make it worse. She's gonna fail me just because she wants to make waves. And I knew that she would have. Like, I knew that she would have failed me out of spite. So I didn't let her roll her down the hole, even though I really freaking wanted to. Because I was like, this, this crap ain't right. And there was also a thing with, um, other students were getting the opportunity to, try pregnancy bellies, and I wanted to try that too because I wanted to know how it felt. Because, of course, I hadn't at 16. And she gave me some bullcrap line about, how it would tip my wheelchair over, which it wouldn't have. I mean, my wheelchair's like 400 pounds, and there's no way that an extra like 25 pounds would have done that. And I knew this. And then there was the thing where my shoe at one point fell off, and it's a little hard for me to, put those on by myself when they fall off like that. So I asked her for help, and she refused because she had just gotten her nails done or whatever the frick it was. And I'm just like, okay, whatever, like, what is going on here? But basically, she she then, as far as the baby was concerned, she goes, I'll change your grade if you do it again. And I'm like, by this point, I'm like, no, you were way too freaking petty about that. Like, I'm not gonna do it again. And, like, she completely ruined the experience for me. And that really sucked. So, but basically, that's the story about one of the times that I was bullied by a teacher. That was probably the biggest instance. There were more, but that's the one that sticks in my head the most. But anyway, watch out for your kids, because it's not just the kids that can be the bullies. If you stuck around with me through my awkward mess, thank you. And I hope to post more videos here soon, but I'm not really sure what it would be. So hang in there with me, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye bye now.